this is the greatest time in our history. The greatest time. We are accountable. We are the most trusted profession in the United States. 2 years ago, we trumped religious leaders for obvious reasons. We are the most trusted profession. And that is a huge burden. That frightened patient in the bed in front of us knows only that they can trust their nurse. And the rest just doesn't matter. And that is huge. And being privileged to lead that, it's a huge job. If you're going to do any kind of leadership, management, administrative role in nursing, it's a huge job. But it's a huge privilege. And I guess the thing I would say most of all, aside from all we've spoken about communication and speaking up and being respectfully assertive, respectfully, is never lose your creativity. Never, ever agree to do the things they've always done because that's how we do it. Always ask, how could we do this differently? Or is there a better way? Or what if? What if? What if? You know, what if we change the way we delivered care to these patients on this shift? So a good example is I was on rounds, one of our hospitals here in Washington last week. And I spent time with the clinical manager in the ICU and I said, so tell me what you're up to here. She said, you know what? We used to do the very stereotypic 2 patients, 1 nurse, or really, really sick patient, 1 patient, 1 nurse. But what we learned was the nurses weren't making the best use of their time and they weren't getting their breaks. So we really gave thought to how we operate as a team. Just us, we didn't ask anybody, we didn't talk, and now we're trying something completely new, which I've never seen in the literature, never heard of. It's awesome. So what they do now is they have 6 patients, 3 nurses on the shift, for example. The 6 of them are going to care, the 3 of them are going to care for the sick patients, but each has lead responsibility. But then as a team, they sit in the morning and they say, okay, how are we going to get through our day with these patients and these discharges and admissions? My patient needs this, your patient needs that, they all need this. Let's organize and do this as a team. Now they get their breaks, now they get lunch, now they don't feel like they're all alone. They know that the team is doing the care, but one is lead and accountable. And they learn to rely on one another very, very differently because everything is better. Work is better, continuity is better, the patients are better, and they go home not completely beaten, exhausted. They didn't add any staff. They didn't ask me or their CNO, could we? Of course, she was very supportive. They just said, we're going to do this different. And if it doesn't work, we'll go back out or we'll do something different. But those are the innovation and creativity examples that will help us get past, oh, we always do it that way here. Because you know what? Same old isn't working. Same old needs to continue where it is, but some of our old practices, I mean, remember, even medicine is only 50% evidence-based right now. And I don't think we're a whole lot better.
That's generous.
Yeah, that's generous, but nursing is not there either.
Right.
So on that other 50%, let's not rely on that's how we always did it first. Let's say, is this the journey? Could we do it? Let's think about this. So another great example, I went to a nursery, level high-risk nursery, not a really high-risk, second level, and special care. And they had to remodel. And they talked the architects into creating light, didn't cost anything, but creating the way the light bulbs and the lights are installed to mirror how an infant needs to have circadian rhythms. Because unfortunately, how the child is hardwired is not how our hospitals are hardwired around circadian rhythms. So that now the child is calmed by the night and day happening in the clinical unit simply with the way the lights get dark and light. Or another good one is just simple things. That there's a like 4 o'clock in the afternoon quiet time that happens on one of our oncology units. Simply because it calms everything. I don't remember if it's 2 in the afternoon or 4, but anyway, loud, crazy time on any ward. the lights go down, everyone speaks quietly, it's quiet time. It's kind of like reminds me of kindergarten, when everybody lays on their mats. They might not go to sleep, but it's quiet time.
Right.
And it just brings a sense of peace and calm. This is an oncology unit, really sick cancer patient. And I just thought, why do nurses wait for permission to do something like that? The leader on that unit inspires them to keep thinking, what can we do different for our patients? Especially when we don't have to spend more money. Simple thing. Or I just, just little things. I go on rounds and I hear this little music and say, well, what was that? Well, that means a baby was just born. And not, hello, welcome to this baby, but just a little tiny music, little chimes, and everyone stops and thinks about that infant coming in the world at that moment in that hospital. And I happened to be on an oncology ward at that time, and I thought, what a great way to sort of maintain perspective. As these patients are deathly ill, many of them hospice patients, in the same building, in the same moment, there's a baby being born. Just embracing this journey, this continuum we get to care for. In the moment, it's great. But if they waited for permission or called some guy in engineering to say, we need you to do X, Y, Z, no, they did it themselves. And they knew what they were doing. So just kind of fun stuff like that, it keeps me going, because when you really tap into the nurses' creativity and innovation, it's all there. They don't need to wait for permission. They need to make sure that they can justify what they're doing and that they're respectful and engage their team and their leader, but if I get to be a nurse manager in my next life, I can't wait, because there's so much good that can be done.